second. Well, hello everybody, and thank you for joining us for Savannah Jewish Family Services Food for Thought program. Please note, if you have any questions during the program, please write them in the chat. We'll have Q&As at the end. Today, I'm honored to introduce Jacqueline Goldstein, who will open today's program. For the past 8 years, Jackie Goldstein has served as the Executive Vice President of Global Development for the Israel Tennis and Education Centers Foundation. She holds an MSW from Columbia University School of Social Work and an MA in Jewish Communal Services from the Jewish Theological Seminary. With her passion for Israel and education, the mission of Israel Tennis and Education Centers, empowering children and transforming their lives through the medium of tennis and educational programs resonated with Jackie. Thank you for joining us, Jackie, and also Shadi, whom you'll meet shortly.
Thank you, Sunny. Thank you for inviting us. It's an honor for the Israel Tennis and Education Centers to be on the Savannah Jewish Federation and JEA's Food for Thought program. We're very excited to be here and share our beautiful organization with us. And I thank some of our leadership and some of my colleagues for joining us as well. So I don't know how much many of you know about the Israel Tennis and Education Centers. Before I talk a little bit about who we are and what we do and the impact that we make on Israeli society, I'd like to share a 40-second video so you have a visual image of some of the programs that we offer. If I may, Sunny, is that? Thank you. Sorry, it's just going to take me 2 seconds.
In the beginning, we all start at love. Through challenges and faults, through victories and achievements, whether we are young or young at heart, what started as a dream of 6 individuals more than 45 years ago has turned into one of the largest service organizations in the state of Israel, educating, nurturing, and providing safety to any child in need. Israel Tennis and Education Centers started with nothing but love.
I find it's always more meaningful when I listen to a presentation to have a visual in your mind when you're describing an organization that's 6,000 miles away. Israel Tennis and Education Centers Foundation just celebrated our 45th anniversary. And we have been an agent of social change in Israel. We have instilled excellence, equality, and education in our children and their families. And these children and families come from multiple faiths and ethnicities. We had 6 founding leadership. You saw the picture in the video. And they recognized early on, oops, sorry. Does everybody hear that?
No, Jackie, we can only hear you.
Okay, that's very distracting to me, so I'm going to shut it.
We can hear.
What's that?
We can hear you.
You can hear me. Okay, I heard another video playing in the background that immediately skipped over. So we had 6 founding leadership. They were all volunteers, and they wanted to do something to help the children of Israel right after the Yom Kippur War and keep the families, the professionals in Israel, the brain power of Israel. They wanted to help them stay in the country. And so they decided to do something for the children of Israel. And they picked the sport of tennis because they wanted to bring tennis to the masses. Tennis tends to be a very elite sport, but they wanted to open it up to the entire population of youth in Israel and use it as a platform to teach them life skills and values through the sport of tennis. They recognized early on that they needed to provide opportunities for children of diverse backgrounds to come together on neutral ground. That neutral ground was the tennis court. Today, we offer tennis and education to bridge divides and encourage Arab and Jewish children and their families to explore one another's cultures, learn and play together, engage in dialogue, become friends, set common goals, and ultimately realize that they can all live together in harmony because they share more common interests than they have differences. So ITEC's mission has been all these years to promote an inclusion and integration through our centers, teach children values and skills that last a lifetime, build their character, expand their career opportunities, and generally provide a better future for children and for the state of Israel, because who's the future of the state of Israel? Our children. Over 20,000 children benefit from a year from ITEC's educational enrichment, tennis, fitness, mental health sessions, and tutoring. We've served over 500,000 children since our inception, and that means we've served several million people, because when children are part of a family and families are part of communities, and the impact of the children's growth and development reverberates and extends outside those concentric circles. We've grown from 1 center in 1976 to 16 centers in 2021. This year we opened 2 additional tennis centers, and I will share with you the map while I'm talking so you can see where our centers are located. Does everybody see the map? Can you hear me?
Yes, and we can see it.
Okay,
Thank you.
fantastic. So we opened the center in Nahariya, right here in the north, and the center in Kiryat Ono, which is down in the center of the country. We go from north to down from Kiryat Shmona all the way down to Beersheba, from Ashkelon, which is on the Gaza border. You see we have in Ashkelon, Ofakim, Beersheba. These are the centers that were heavily inflicted with the missiles coming in the recent crisis. And of course, Tel Aviv and a little bit of Jerusalem. The majority of our centers, as you can see from the map, are located in the geographic or social periphery of Israel in order to specifically work with underserved youth. ITEC, we call it ITEC, Israel Tennis and Education Centers, offers specialized social service programs that have been recognized for stabilizing cities in the periphery to stem violence and improve academic performance. Those programs include programs for youth at risk, which provide tennis, fitness, tutoring, mental health counseling, group work sessions with a mental health specialist, and sometimes food if needed. In 2020, we distributed over 1,000 laptops and tablets in order to keep the children in the periphery connected with their tennis centers and be able to connect with their friends and study remotely in school. We work with youth facing developmental, emotional, and physical challenges, immigrant populations, and children of foreign refugees, twin kindergartens, and our Tiny Tots program, all about motor development and early integration and inclusion at a very young age. We offer wellness programs for children in the form of obesity prevention, utilizing tennis, working together with one of the Kupot, one of the HMOs in Israel, so that they have dietitians and physicians working with them as well. And it changes their children's behaviors and helps prevent diabetes. And our college preparatory programs for high performance players. We've had a lot of success with some of our high performance players who have gone international and performed on the global stage, but that represents a small fraction of our high performance players, those who succeed in that arena. And many of our players have taken the opportunity to participate in our college preparatory program, apply to college, get into college, receive full scholarships in the United States, and receive their university degrees, and have the opportunity to spend some time working in the United States. For many of these youth, they would never have had the opportunity to receive their degree abroad, maybe not even in Israel as well. And then lastly, of course, we have the high performance program, and you'll hear a little bit about that from Shadi. His brother and sister are participating in that program, and I don't want to steal your thunder, Shadi. And I will talk a little bit about why this is a historic moment for ITEC after Shadi speaks. So now it's my pleasure to introduce I'm proud to call him my friend, a remarkable young man who I met when he was 14 years old, and he came to the United States with one of our exhibition teams. Shadi grew up in Rahat, which is the second to largest Bedouin community in the Negev. He's a Muslim Arab citizen and a proud citizen of Israel. Shadi is very passionate and a skilled tennis player. Of course, he's an alumnus of our Samson Center in Beersheba. And Shadi has two brothers and sisters. And he was recently offered a very special award, which he will tell you about when he speaks. So Shadi, welcome. Thank you for always serving as an ambassador for Israel and for the Israel Tennis and Education Centers. We're really, really very proud of you. And I don't want to tell any more about you because I'd love for you if you could share your own story with us. How did tennis become such a big part of your life and that of your entire family? And how did your siblings end up becoming passionate tennis players?
First of all, thank you so much, Jackie, for introducing me. And it's always good and and fun to give back to you guys, because you guys gave me everything, all the things that I needed, and the things that made me who I am today. So I'm Shadi. I grew up in a small city in Israel, an Arab Muslim city called Rahat, located down south of Israel. Actually, it's not the best area to grow up in. My parents wanted a good environment and a good area for me to be in after school, to try to improve myself or try to be in a good area with the tools that I can improve and to be a better person. And they heard about the ITEC actually in Beersheba. And that was at the age of 8 or 9, something like this. We had the fear. We had the fear that maybe they will not accept us as Arabs or something like this. We had the fear that maybe our community will not be happy on that we are Arabs going to be with Jews or something like this. We had always the fear. Maybe we will not be successfely connected with Jews, all those stuff. But from the first day I stepped into the center, I mean, I've never stopped on being positive and proud to be who I am as an Arab. it started just to be in a place that I can spend time after school, just a few days a week. And, from day to day, we had this big love to this place, to spend more time with the kids. And, we had the big love to the game of tennis. And the feeling that I got from there is how they accepted me, even though I was an Arab. Kids were not asking me who I am, where I'm from, or something like that. Just came to the center just to have fun. Me personally, I wanted also to keep this friendship that I got with the kids in the center, off the courts as well and off the center. I slept a lot at Jewish friends. They came also to my home in Rahat. My parents it was very important for them to keep this friendship with Jews always. I mean, just a couple of years ago, we invited the manager, a lot of kids from the center, to come to our city to learn about our community, the Bedouins, and to learn about our culture, and to let them feel safe, and to show them that the Arabs are good people as well, like the Jews, and there is no different at the end at the end we are human beings, right? And to see all this way that I had, my brother and sister, they were so passionate to come and to enjoy the trip with me, and they came on, and they are doing it. They are doing this way very successfully. They are very good players in Israel, from the top players in Israel, and they took it also to the next stage in the world. They are competing all over the world. The top players in the world. My sister, she's top 30 in the world. And at 70th anniversary of Israel, when they celebrated a couple of years ago, they picked my sister to be like the most improved athlete in Israel. And she had a lot of posters all over Israel, to see how Israel, a Jewish country, to see how this country is proud of an Arab citizen, an Arab little kid that gives Israel very big pride. This thing made us to be more connected to this organization, also more connected to this country. And I think a week ago, I told Jackie, we talked about the Israeli anthem song, that Arabs don't sing this song because it talks about Zion, Jews, and it's not talks about Arabs. And I told her, I don't sing this song, but when I hear this song, I feel something comfortable inside me, because this country gave us a lot. They gave us a lot. And this country made us who we are today. This impact I had this impact on me, on my brother, and as well my sister, and also on my parents. They sacrificed everything for us, for tennis. Also, we moved from our childhood city that we grew up in Rahat, and we moved to a Jewish country just to be close to the center. We moved to Ramat HaSharon, which is located in the center of Israel. Right now, we are living with Jews in the same building, and we had so much. We feel so much comfortable with them. And that's amazing. That's amazing how to see this country, even though we had a lot of stuff going on these past months in Israel, the bad thing going on with between Arabs and Jews. We kept on working to bring Arabs and Jews together. And me personally, myself, I visited my friend here in a kibbutz, and I visited them with my uncle. We we bought food. Mansaf, it's like a food kind of food we do in our community. I came to my friend's place, a Jewish friend, and when I stepped into his house, I told him, I'm coming today to make peace. And you know, I gave them the feeling of peace, which is amazing. So to see how this organization impact on us is amazing, And I told Jackie, I'll always be happy and always be proud to give back, because really.
And you do, Shadia, and we're grateful that you and your family are partners with ITEC and with the State of Israel. I do remember how your dad stood up when your sister was nominated and received the award, the most improved player athlete for the 70th anniversary, and spoke out for the State of Israel. And that's extraordinarily brave. I just came back from Israel, and I, like Shadi, did leave with a feeling of hope because while there was violence among some sectors of more people who were more on the criminal side, or what I came away with was really hope that the majority of the people in Israel really want to work and live together, both Jews, Israeli Jews and Israeli Arabs, and that there's quite a lot on the ground that's happening that we can be really proud of. And I'll tell you a little bit about after Shadi finishes speaking. But Shadi, you mentioned that your parents wanted to send you to ITEC to provide you with a better environment, and that there are some challenges in your city in Rahat. Can you tell us a little bit more about Rahat and what some of those challenges are? And also, how did it feel? You spoke about your fear initially going to the center of what would it be like to be with Jewish children, but what kinds of reactions did you and your family encounter in Rahat when you started playing at the center, and what's happened subsequently in the city?
Actually, when you say, I mean, Rahat, it's located in Israel, and people may think that people in Rahat, maybe they interact with the Jews or something like this. But I can tell you, 6 years ago, people in Rahat were not interacting with Jews at all. They had a lot of stupid thoughts about Jews. I don't know, that you need to hate Jews or something like this. Jews are the enemy of Arabs or something like this. But I learned throughout the years that you need to go out, to step out, and to meet people in person. And then you can decide by your own way if they are good or bad. Because the people you can see in all places, all over the world, in different backgrounds or different religions or those kind of things. Bad people as well. Mm-hmm. But throughout the years, you know, the people in Rahat saw us in a very different way because it was new. It was new, the interaction. It was new for them, the interaction between Jews and Arabs. And to see how we gave them pride, to see how we had beautiful results, or I don't know, competing in tournaments and winning tournaments or something like this. And we show them that it's possible, and we show them that Jews are also respecting us. I can tell you that the ITEC today are working on opening a big program in Rahat, and I can tell you that our family, we made the way easier, and we had an open day 2 weeks ago in Rahat. I mean, the big staff from ITEC came to Rahat to start this program, and my father went there, me as well, and they saw us like superheroes. We were like celebrates over there. They were so proud of us, and they wanted their children as well to get involved, and also to see them as well successful in the future. So that's a big thing. That's a big thing, Jackie.
It is huge, Shadi, and in many respects, your parents and you and your brother and sister have been visionaries in your own community to help change your own community. I had the opportunity to hear the mayor of Rahat speak 2 days ago, and he talked about the fact that Rahat has 75,000 people in the community, and the majority of them are young people. And the future of the community is really based on the development and providing a structured framework for the young people to curb some of the violence, to take them off the streets, and provide them with the same opportunities that Shadi and Karine and Samar have had at the Israel Tennyson Education Centers. And just 2 days ago, he brought the leadership of the professional leadership of the municipality to Ramat HaSharon. This was step 2 after the youth in Rahat had a chance to play street tennis with our staff coming to Rahat. And they had an opportunity to experience tennis, to hit the ball, to enjoy themselves, but also to understand what the framework of tennis is and what it gives children for a lifetime: values, skills, and a nurturing, loving environment. You know, the video I showed you was talked about always started with love. We continue with love. It's about our staff. Some of them serve as surrogate parents for our kids who are new immigrants to the country, who come from disadvantaged backgrounds. And it's just so beautiful to be able to extend a hand and start to work together with 3 major cities, Arab cities in the country, and provide the same equal opportunities that we've been providing children for 45 years. So Shadi, talk to us a little bit about how your identity is developed over the years. You started playing around 10 years old at the tennis centers, right?
Mm-hmm.
How has your Arab Israeli identity developed over those past 7 years?
Wow. I was afraid of my identity. I was afraid to speak in Arabic. I was afraid to say my name. I was afraid, for real. I was afraid.
What were you afraid of, Shadi? What were you afraid of?
I had a lot of thoughts. Maybe they will think about me differently. Maybe they will act with me differently and treat me differently. But as I told you before, they gave me the skills and then the good ways and the positive ways that I need to be proud of who I am. And today I can stand whatever I want and say proudly that I'm Shadi and I grew up and like this, and I'm an Arab, and I'm proud Arab, and I'm proud Israeli Arab. I mean, no one needs to be ashamed of this. For real. No one needs to be ashamed of his own identity. You need to be proud of who you are, because that's what makes you special, right? Your identity before anything. So throughout the years, you know, it gave me a lot of confidence to stand and to be proud and to have no fear to be who I am.
That's amazing. Did you do you think others at the tennis centers, other youth who have been, our centers are centers of inclusion, they bring together children from all different religions, different nationalities, children of foreign workers. It's really a melting pot of children coming together in one environment. How do you think some of the others have reacted to their developing identities over the years? Do you feel like it's something they learned at the centers, or how did that all happen for you?
It's not something that you can learn, it's something that you feel. When you come and when you step into the court or when you step into the center, it's a feeling you get. It's a feeling of being safe. It's a feeling of being at home. Also, you know, that feeling when you step up into the court, and also when you play, you forget about all those stuff. You always just focus on playing the point and having fun and meet up with your friends. There is no time for those things. There is no time for those things, which is beautiful to see how this sport takes all the bad things off and makes you feel that crazy and good feeling.
So you really, besides sharing common values, you're really very focused and disciplined, and that sort of dissipates all of the political divides, the walls that people build outside. There are no walls.
Far away from politics, far away from politics. I describe the tennis court is like an aquarium far away from all those stuff, which is nice.
And that's why many of our staff and our kids talk about our centers as islands of stability for them. You know, whether they have special challenges physically, emotionally, or mentally, or they're people from children from different backgrounds, they feel safe there and they know that everyone is treated equally. Did you ever have any problems at the centers where you felt that that wasn't the case?
No, I mean, no way, even 1%. I felt 100% safe. You know, they accepted me as who I am. Always treated me the same. Even the manager that I had, coaches as well, they treated me the same. That there is no difference. Really, there is no difference. At the end, we are human beings. We need to. I mean, everyone need to treat the kids equally, because when you treat the kids equally, they can improve in a better way. They will have like a good positive energy together. Not, you know, to treat every kid in a different way, which is not good.
So when Sunny and I spoke, I don't know, was it 2 months ago? And we talked about this program. Obviously, the situations that happened in Israel were far from our mind. But what's your thinking since the conflict with Gaza and some of the rioting that took place in Israel? What's your vision for the future? How are you thinking things are going to move forward, and what role do you think sports will play or continue to play, particularly tennis, since we're the Israel Tennis and Education Centers? What do you think it can accomplish in terms of creating shared society in Israel?
You're asking me, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can tell you that my thoughts didn't change. I will always work on bringing even just small percentage of peace. I will always work on that. Nothing changed. And the thing that you guys did is opening a big leadership in Rahat and as well up north in Taipei, in Arab communities, make parents to bring up a lot of kids over there bring more leadership in our Arab community as well. Like me, imagine yourself more kids that can involve themselves like me, and in the future we'll have like a big leadership of Arabs in Arab communities in Israel. And in this process, the peace will be closer and closer. So the vision and the peace, I can say it's far away, but we can make it close and close and close. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
absolutely, absolutely.
So this step that you did, guys, is very big, and hopefully we will get there. I mean, I'm 100% sure that we will get there.
And I feel the same way after having also participated in the Leadership Day with Taiba. The Taiba municipality brought their mayor came with all of the municipality professionals to learn about the game of tennis and to start a dialogue with the staff of the Israel Tennis and Education Centers, all of who are there are graduates of the centers, they're managers, they're part of our headquarters staff, and they know what it is to grow up in an inclusive environment, and they, like Shadi, want to give back. And I'd like to share with you a very short video of the reactions of all of the participants, Jews and Arabs, who came to this day in Taiba. And it took place still while the conflict was going on. We weren't sure that it was going to happen. Understandably so, the leadership, the people from Taiba were very anxious about traveling to Ramat Sharon. They, like Shadi, didn't know how they would be received. Israel Tennis and Education Centers sent them a bus, and I want to share with you a little bit about their reactions.
We met, we spoke, we have our differences.
Yes, we are different, we are the same.
This is the beginning of a great friendship.
Our family from Taiba showed great leadership, great example for all of us in coming today.
We started to cooperate.
Regardless of our religion, race, we all are human. I am so glad for having such a chance to have a tennis court in Taiba, and it will be a great opportunity for the whole region, not only Taiba.
I think this is more than historical.
This new generation, they are the future.
We cannot change the whole world, but we can change the whole world of one child.
So I think that gave you a little bit of the flavor of the excitement and the enthusiasm and the desire of the Taiba community and the Israel Tennis Centers community to work together to customize a program that will benefit the children of Taiba and the entire state of Israel. And for us at ITEC, after having created this proven model of inclusion at our centers, it's a very historic moment for us to be able to go out and expand our work with diverse populations and go work in Arab cities to build our centers and our program, and to join hands together in partnership and create collaborative leadership, which can only benefit all of the citizens of the state of Israel. And with that, I'd like to say thank you, Sunny. We're pleased to answer any questions that people on the call might have.
I actually have two questions, if you don't mind, to just start off the Q&As. I'm wondering if you have participants, students, and children that are not just Israeli or Arab, but also new immigrants that come to Israel from other countries and backgrounds.
We do. Thank you for the question. I mentioned before that we work with children of foreign workers who have come to Israel to better their lives, to get work. And for instance, we have a girls empowerment program, and many of the girls in the program come from children of foreign workers, but they're together with Israeli girls who have grown up in Israel but are part of traditional families. They come from underprivileged backgrounds, bringing them together with Ethiopian children and children whose families are from Russia and from the Ukraine. And so that's one example, but all of our programs contain immigrants, children of immigrant families or families of foreign workers, and they're all together. It's not segregated by group. Our motto is to create integration into Israeli society.
I love that. And also, I know you showed us the map of where you have all the different centers, and I'm wondering if you ever have any events or programs where you bring all the centers together, or do the students ever see one another from different areas in Israel?
Absolutely. Shadi, do you want to answer that question? You're nodding your head.
I mean, I remember as a kid, like once a month, you know, every center, you know, the manager comes to the kids and tells the kids, every kid needs to improve himself. You need to play good. You need to come and ta. If you're good, we're gonna pick a few of the kids and we will take you to the main center in Ramat HaSharon once a month, every month. They bring the kids. I mean, every manager of every center, they keep up, I don't know, from 4 to 5 kids to come to the main center and to, you know, to meet, all the kids can meet together, as well the managers, and, you know, to see how this large country with the different centers and to see them together in one place. That's nice. Always was nice. Yeah.
Good memory, Shadi. And in addition, Sunny, we do have special events for different programs. So we have an end of year celebration for what we call our Embrace program, which is for children at risk. And they have an annual event, and every center goes away on a field trip, sometimes to the Hermon Mountain, to places where the kids wouldn't necessarily be going with their families. Sometimes they don't get out of their own communities. Those are intermixed as well. And of course, there are the tennis tournaments. For those kids who are playing in tournaments, they travel all over the country, competing at different centers and meeting one another. And then of course, we have our exhibition teams, where we bring a variety of children for several times a year to travel the country with us. My colleague, Yoni Yair, who manages those exhibitions, he takes the group cross country, and they have an opportunity to really get to know one another, to spend 10 days together, but also to learn culturally about the United States, to see another environment, to learn the truth, as Shadi says, about people. And it's quite special.
Thank you. And we have a question in the chat from Carol. I'll read it. Carol said, great motto. We cannot change the world, the whole world, but we can change the world of one child. And Carol was asking, what type of support do you look for outside of Israel?
Thank you for asking that question, Carol. Our social service programs at the centers are funded by donor support. in North America primarily, and some other countries around the world. Donors fund scholarships, some donors fund specific programs. Foundations participate in that funding as well. We also have dedication opportunities for physical spaces that those funds are then also used to support the social service side of the organization for children whose parents cannot afford to come send them to the center and who benefit greatly from it. That support has been ever more special in 2020 because there were many of our families lost their jobs during COVID. They needed help putting food on the table. As I mentioned before, the kids were isolated and many of them didn't have any kind of device to stay connected with the world. And we provided devices for those children as well. So we're heavily donor supported, and we're very, very fortunate to have a very devoted donor base. We call ourselves the ITEC family, and we're thrilled to be part of your family too in Savannah.
Are there any other questions for Jackie or for Shadi? You can feel free to unmute yourself as well. Well, if there
Sorry,
are no,
just one more. It's
yes, please, Carol.
and I'm sorry, I'm having a lot of computer issues, so it's amazing that I have a voice at all, let alone no picture. But I was wondering, I know that that you have your centers, and I know I like the question about getting together for other projects. Do you, and I got the impression that there was some travel involved, and I realize in a COVID world that doesn't happen, but do you ever have exhibition games that are, let's say, in the United States, you know, what we call a pony and cart show, where you go around and do what you're doing now, but to a large audience that's part of an exhibition, maybe with American kids that help you promote what you do, and also as a good way of promoting goodwill from Israel, from both the Israeli Jewish and also the Arab population?
Thank you for asking that question too, Carol. I'm going to take you on our dog and pony show as well. You ask great questions. Yes, those are the exhibition. That's the exhibitions that I was speaking about. We have tennis exhibitions. We have other kinds of events that we do across the United States. People host us in their homes, and so there could be like a meet and greet with our teams. We've done virtual events in the COVID space, which has, you know, we've been able to reach out to an incredibly large audience that way. And this year we have, for instance, we're doing a concert to benefit ITEC, all of which include the children speaking, members of our staff speaking, to promote the organization and what we do. And what I love about this organization is that I love a lot of things, but you know, in the United States, Israel is no longer a given in terms of Jewish people's identification with Israel, especially amongst the younger generation. And what this organization does, because it's a children's organization and we bring our athletes who are children for these events, it allows people with families to participate in the events. And whole families develop relationships with the children through the tennis and education centers. They stay friends on Facebook. They go to Israel, they visit one another. And it's a way of really personalizing Israel for these children, for their parents, in a very different way. We're an apolitical organization, and we work with children of diverse backgrounds, yet for 45 years, we've been able to bring them together successfully. And I'll never forget an image that's still in my head. I attended at the end, the close of year program at the center in Jerusalem. And there were kids sitting all over the court. And you had one child with a kippah with peyot coming down from his, from his head. And you had another girl who was clearly an Arab girl. Her head was wrapped in the scarf. And you had all spectrums, and they were all sitting on the same court together. The parents were talking to each other. Where does that happen? It's a beautiful thing. So we would be delighted to come to Savannah if the community would like to invite us and bring our team and our staff. And I would love to see Savannah, as I know Yoni would. And we'd be happy to introduce our children to your community.
Boy, sounds like a lot of fun. And
it
thank
is a
you
lot of
very
fun.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shadi and Jackie and everybody else. We really hope that you will be in Savannah sooner than later. And we can't thank you enough for being here today. I also wanted to invite everybody on this call today and people that are watching us live that will be here at the same link at the same time every Thursday. And next week, we'll be hosting Lee Rich, who will talk to us about our body of law. So thank you, everybody, and we hope to see you next week.
Thank you. And don't forget to visit us when you come to Israel.
Bye.